Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to take that stack of information, all those notes and articles you've gathered, and really pull out the insights that matter most for you, the listener.
Yeah, giving you those aha moments, getting straight to the point.
Exactly. No getting lost in the weeds.
And today, we're diving into something pretty specific. Prosecutor Pete's podcast, Macomb County Prosecutor Lucido's News and Notes. It's basically a rundown of recent activities and wins from the Macomb County Prosecutor's Office.
Right. So our mission here is to get past just the headlines. We want to unpack for you how the prosecutor's office is working on justice for residents, what successes they're really pointing to, and maybe understand the teamwork behind it all.
It's your shortcut, really, to understanding what's happening with law and safety in Macomb County.
Okay, so let's get into it. This Prosecutor Pete's podcast source material, it starts off almost like a news flash, right? Bang, 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 covering some really big recent cases.
Yeah, quick snapshots.
Snapshots of justice actually happening, impacting people right there.
That seems to be the approach. Short, factual bits, looks like mostly from press releases. They focus on the big charges, the results, and, interestingly, direct quotes from Prosecutor Lucido.
And they emphasize teamwork.
Consistently, yeah, mentioning assistant prosecutors, victim advocates, the whole team.
Okay, so what jumps out first? I noticed a couple of cases right away about fleeing from police. That seems like a major theme.
It definitely is. And these aren't just isolated incidents in the updates. They seem to connect directly to a policy push. The first one involves Travian Smith.
He's very young, right?
Just 16 at the time, back in August 2023. Fled police, hit speeds of 93 miles per hour, ran a red light. The collision killed a 31-year-old pregnant woman and her unborn child.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah, and paralyzed her husband, injured their toddler too. Just awful.
What happened legally?
A jury found him guilty, second-degree murder, other charges. He got 25 to 50 years in prison.
And the prosecutor's comment?
Lucido was very direct, said, "Today's sentence sends a clear message. When you choose to run from the police, you will walk to a jail. And then, one reckless decision can shatter countless lives." It really shows their stance.
Mm-hmm. And there was another similar case mentioned.
Yes, Angela Ricky Smith, he was 17. This was back in April 2021. Stole a Jeep, fled police going over 130 miles per hour.
130, wow.
Ran a red light, crashed, killed 20-year-old Emmon Woods. He pled no contest, so not admitting guilt, but accepting the conviction to second-degree homicide and other charges. Sentence was 15 to 50 years.
So Lucido's comments on these, it sounds like he's seeing a pattern, not just individual tragedy.
Absolutely. He said things like, when individuals flee, the consequences are devastating. And every time someone runs, they roll the dice with innocent lives. I want to end that gamble.
Okay, so how does that connect to policy?
Well, this is key. These cases aren't just prosecuted in isolation. They seem to directly fuel this broader push. Lucido announced a zero-tolerance policy on fleeing. The slogan is, run from the law, walk to a cell.
Pretty clear message.
Very. And he's actively calling on state lawmakers for strong bipartisan legislation, specifically wants mandatory prison time. He even said a fleeing vehicle can cause as much damage as a bullet.
Framing it like a weapon.
Exactly. So it's not just reacting after the fact. It's trying to change the laws, change the consequences before it happens again. That's a significant insight for residents, this proactive push.
Okay, so that zero tolerance on fleeing is a big takeaway.
Yeah.
But the podcast material, it also covers other tough issues, right? Like gun violence, mental health.
Right. It's a pretty comprehensive. Look at the Cheyenne Randolph case. February 2024, a 21-year-old woman shot her father twice during an argument.
Okay.
She pled guilty. Assault with intent to do great bodily harm, that's a serious felony, carries up to 10 years plus felony firearm, another 2 years. Sentencing is down the road, October 2025.
What was the takeaway message there from the prosecutor?
Lucido said, "This case is a stark reminder that you cannot reach for a weapon when words will do. Guns are not an answer to conflict." Pretty straightforward message about accountability for gun violence.
Mm-hmm. And that leads into another case that seemed to have a big mental health angle, Jason Barnes.
Yeah, the impersonator case. That definitely got some attention. A 48-year-old man impersonating a first responder at crime scenes.
Right, including a homicide scene. Plus, weapon charges. How do they handle that one, especially given the unusual nature of it?
He pled no contest to multiple charges impersonating weapon possession by someone prohibited. But the sentence is what's interesting. 24 months of really strict probation.
Zero tolerance probation.
Yeah, zero tolerance, but also mandatory psychiatric evaluation, counseling, cognitive restructuring, things aimed at addressing the why behind the behavior. And he can't possess any emergency gear or ID.
So accountability, but also trying to prevent recurrence through treatment.
That seems to be the idea. Lucido's quote was, "Accountability comes first, while also requiring mental health treatment to reduce the risk of future harm."
Okay.
And this ties into something bigger. They mention the stop the next shot policy. It sounds like a first in Michigan thing, where they request mental health assessments as a condition of bond in all gun crime cases.
So right at the beginning of the case.
Exactly. It uses that early stage, the bond hearing, as a chance for intervention. It's balancing holding people accountable with trying to proactively address potential underlying mental health issues that could contribute to violence. It's a pretty innovative approach using the legal system for potential public health intervention.
That is an interesting strategy, using that leverage point.
No.
Okay, moving on. The updates also cover some really complex crimes, the kind that take a lot of resources to prosecute.
Oh, absolutely. Like the Xavier Gardner case, a Florida man, part of a group allegedly involved in a carjacking outside a gym in Shelby Township.
I remember hearing about that one. It sounded brutal.
The allegations are severe: carjacking at gunpoint, restraining and torturing the victim, driving him to his house, home invasion. Gardner fled, was eventually caught in Florida, and extradited back.
So a multi-state effort involved. Where does that case stand?
He's been bound over to circuit court, the higher court, on 12 charges. We're talking life felonies, carjacking, conspiracy, armed robbery, torture.
Serious charges.
Extremely. His arraignment is set for September 2025. 4 others are heading to trial in October 2025. Another suspect is facing federal charges. Lucido basically said they're pursuing everyone involved to the fullest extent. Shows the complexity they handle.
Definitely a complex web there. And then the McDonald's stabbing case in East Point, just incredibly tragic.
Yeah, Afeni Badu Muhammad, charged with stabbing her manager, Jennifer Harris, after being sent home from work. It was actually a lawfully armed customer who stepped in and held her until police got there.
A civilian intervened. Wow.
Yes. Muhammad's facing first-degree premeditated murder. But the next step, a hearing in October 2025, is waiting on a mental health evaluation from the Center for Forensic Psychiatry.
To see if she's competent to stand trial.
Exactly. Lucido emphasized that it's a standard step when mental health questions arise, essential for protecting the accused's rights and the integrity of the process.
So looking at all these cases together, the fleeing, the gun violence, mental health interventions, complex conspiracies, competence evaluations, it really paints a picture of the sheer variety and diligence required from the prosecutor's office every single day.
It really does. It shows the breadth of what they're dealing with for Macomb residents.
Okay, so beyond the specific cases, what does this mean for you, the resident? The podcast updates also talk a lot about modernizing the office itself. How does that connect to actual benefits?
Right. This is where you see the systemic impact. Under Lucido's leadership, it seems they're not just churning through cases, they're fundamentally changing how justice gets delivered. Here's this quote they mention: "Talented people like working with other talented people," suggesting a focus on building a strong team to drive these changes.
And what are some of those tangible results they highlight? Child support was one, right?
A big one. Over $3 million collected since 2023 from Macomb kids.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a specific initiative targeting parents who owe $5,000 or more. And critically, they often get results without needing criminal prosecution.
So direct financial help for families.
Exactly. Real money going to kids and families. Shows a new program making a real difference in a tough area.
That's significant. What about crime victims? How are they being supported?
They say they've more than doubled the number and percentage of eligible victims getting services.
What kind of services?
Things like having an assigned victim advocate, help getting restitution sorted out, making sure they get notified about hearings. So more victims are getting that crucial support through what's often a really difficult, traumatic process. It's a move towards more victim-centered justice.
That sounds like a major improvement.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing something about women in the office shattering the glass ceiling.
Yeah, they highlighted that specifically. A record number of women hired as assistant prosecutors, 70% of new hires in the last 3 years.
70%.
Yep. And women are now the majority of all assistant prosecutors handling cases. Plus, Record promotions for women leading special units.
So real focus on diversity and inclusion.
It seems so. Building a team that reflects the community better, and they mentioned doing this even with national shortages of prosecutors. That's pretty noteworthy.
It definitely speaks to intentional effort there. How about the nuts and bolts, like processing warrants? Any changes there?
Big improvements claimed there, too. The warrant unit is processing adult warrants much faster, getting pending requests down to record lows.
Even with more requests coming in from police.
Apparently so. And they specifically mentioned setting a record for fast domestic violence warrant processing. That's crucial compared to how things might have been before.
So faster justice for victims, especially in urgent cases.
Right. And just more efficiency overall in the system.
And all this work hasn't gone unnoticed. There was mention of national awards.
That's right. 8 achievement awards in 2025 from the National Association of Counties, or NACOCUS. Apparently that led the state of Michigan.
That's quite a few.
And it adds to, I think they said, 34 national awards over the last 4 years. These awards recognize innovative county programs. Lucido linked it back to teamwork and bipartisan support from county commissioners, saying it shows what's possible when people work together to serve the greater good.
That external validation is important. It suggests the changes are being seen as effective outside the county, too.
Yeah, it definitely lends credibility to the modernization efforts.
So pulling it all together for you, the listener, in Macomb County, how did all this happen? This turnaround they describe, the updates really stress one thing: partnership.
Right. It wasn't just one person waving a magic wand. It raises that question, how does local government really make progress?
And the answer seems to be collaboration.
The source material puts a lot of emphasis on the Macomb County commissioners. Their bipartisan support, especially with budgets and giving the office the resources it needed, is framed as absolutely essential for these changes.
A real team effort between the branches of county government.
Seems that way. You see it in the quotes from the commissioners themselves.
Like Joe Sabatini, the board chair.
Yeah, he said he was extremely pleased about the national recognition, that it shows innovation and a clear focus on delivering results for the people of Macomb County.
And Joseph Romano, chair of the Public Safety Committee.
He echoed that, saying the awards show Lucido and his team are doing public service right, with collaboration and a real commitment to keeping our communities safe.
So, strong endorsements there, highlighting that collaborative spirit.
And
And this fits with the Lucido's background, doesn't it?
it does. They briefly mention his time in the state legislature, where he apparently passed more bipartisan legislation than anyone else. So bringing that same playbook working across the aisle to the county level seems to be a core part of the strategy.
It's presented less as a political story and more as, well, a model for getting things done.
Exactly. The message seems to be broader than just the prosecutor's office. It's framed as an example of community improvement, showing that anyone, whether in public service or the community, can help create positive change.
How? What's the key?
According to the material, it starts with listening, working together, and staying focused on what matters most, improving people's lives. It's meant to be sort of inspirational for civic action.
It really is quite something to see that kind of focus on cross-aisle work delivering these kinds of results they're highlighting.
Yeah, the updates definitely paint a picture of effective collaboration driving change.
And there you have it, our deep dive into Prosecutor Pete's podcast. We've looked at that proactive approach to justice in the case reviews, the really impressive modernization efforts and results highlighted by the prosecutor's office, and underscored that power of bipartisan teamwork they credit for making it happen.
Yeah, looking at Macomb County's legal scene through this lens, it's not just about efficient government. It really provides, you could say, a kind of blueprint for civic engagement. It makes you wonder, where else in your own community could that same spirit, collaboration, innovation, taking direct action, create real positive change, and maybe what role could you play in that?
That's a really powerful question to leave you with. We hope this deep dive gave you a clear, useful picture of how justice is being pursued and modernized right there in Macomb County.
And we'll wrap up with the closing message they share. From Prosecutor Peter J. Lucido's team, it's not enough to make Macomb your home. We're committed to make Macomb your safe home.
Thanks for joining us for the deep dive. We'll catch you next time.